Hello, everybody. This is a late live stream, and it is late because of some conversations I had online that were done in preparation for, you know, what I'm presenting to you right now as I speak, okay? So, and they're pretty jarring. I have to be completely honest. They are very jarring. And the first headline is Nevada Oakland Raiders Las Vegas NFL Stadium tax is Nevada Taxpayers Association afraid to question. That was my original title. Then I altered it to scared to question. And at one point I was going to put are they on the take? And then another point I was going to put are they corrupt? And the reason I had toyed with those different titles is because of the Twitter exchange I had, first with a number of people. You can actually see it as Zenny62 yourself right now, and the Nevada Taxpayers Association chimed right in. Basically, the I was rightly toying with whether or not I should read them, but I'll read them and then go. I will read them, and I will allow you to weigh in, and we can go forward from there. It started in terms of the thread way back today, about maybe a couple of hours ago, um, with a guy named Michael Guess, and my questions to the Nevada Taxpayers Association, which kind of got them out of the woodwork to respond. And this is how it went, okay? And it started when Michael Gus, who is a rural specialist, a pro-gun Democrat, opposed to the real Donald Trump. I'm reading his Twitter account as I talk to you. And litmus test, fighter of good fights, views mine, period, followed by 760 people, and he in turn follows 360. Anyway, he tweets, the truth is the numbers on the Steve Sisolak pipe dream, as he calls it, and Steve Sisolak is the chairman of the Clark County Board of Commissioners, says the truth is the numbers on the Steve Sisolak pipe dream, known as the Raiders NFL Stadium, never added up. Jim Giuliani was right to vote against it, and that's in response to my tweet, which goes like this. Yep, sad how little NFL fans really know about the troubled Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium project. For example, it's 5 months and counting behind schedule, and the hotel stadium tax rate is too small to afford a $750 million bond issue, so taxpayers would pay the rest. Okay, Mr. Gus saw that and responded, and that took this Alice into a brand new wonderland. Okay, that's the only way to put it. It took this Alice, me, into a brand new wonderland, and and in turn you would say, why did I write that? And I wrote it in response to Mike Conti, who is a local radio show host here in Atlanta, stating that there are 4 NFL teams that are being stripped of home games to play in London/Mexico in 2018. And he says one of them is the Oakland Raiders because he says, quote, Raiders are moving to a new state. That's got nothing to do with it. The implication of his tweet is, oh, the Raiders are gone in 2018, which we all know is not true, right? But this is the kind of misinformation, the kind of garbage that's flying around the country by people who simply are very kindly not informed. And so I responded by Twitter in caps to begin, yo, this is way wrong. The Oakland Raiders are not moving to Las Vegas for 2018 NFL season or 2019 or 2020. Team is negotiating a lease extension in Oakland now. And I had a photograph of me at the bottom of the tweet, which read, "That's me at the January 11th Las Vegas Stadium Authority meeting," and with a link to video where I talk about the stadium tax issue, okay? And that caught the attention of a woman by the name of Rosemary Phillips on Twitter, who wrote, "Wow." And I wrote back, "Yep, sad how little NFL fans really know about the troubled Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium project. For example, it's 5 months and counting behind schedule, and the hotel tax rate is too small to afford a $750 million bond issue, so taxpayers will pay the rest." So then Ms. Phillips shoots back, "Including black contractors, yet Raiders, Steve Hill, Goodell, Davis refuses to return black contractors' calls, cost a mere 35 cents, but can't accept millions of our tax dollars, payer dollars for their pockets, returns Latin chamber calls immediately." My response to Rosemary's tweet was, so the NFL contact line is such that they push all inquiries back to the Oakland Raiders. Roger Goodell stays out of the issue, so does Eric Grubman, the NFL's Executive Vice President for Business Affairs. Rosemary Phillips tweets back, "And apparently Davis, Hill, Las Vegas Authority, McCarthy, and Morrison." Okay, so that goes on to, and prior to that, I saw a photograph of a video that was a drone flyover of the stadium, and I wrote back to Norm Sanders. And who's Norm Sanders? Norm Sanders is the multimedia journalist slash senior writer for McCarthy Building, people who are building the stadium, right? Opinions of my own, retweets, not endorsement. And what I wrote back to Mr. Sanders on Twitter was, "But the video only confirms what I have reported. Channel dig, caliche blasting, portable installations. Norm Sanders, that is it. Oakland Raiders have not been approved to actually build the Las Vegas Stadium, nor have bond money. That is a fact. Hashtag tell the truth." All right. So then, because I find when I do that, I tend to get information and people respond. And 9 times out of 10, I get the information that I seek, even if it allows me to, even if it provides a piece to the puzzle. Okay. And at any rate, the exchange with my Ms. Phillips went like this. She happened to see another tweet that I issued that said, "Ken Evans' right to ask for minority participation rates in Las Vegas Raiders Stadium NFL, as that is standard." That tweet was as old as 9th of November 2017. But today, on the 31st, which was, 4 in the afternoon of January, Rosemary Phillips responds in this way. And I'll bring you down so you can have a look at this tweet, just so you can get a feel for what the change was, okay? She wrote, "McCarthy just failed the good faith effort in my book, trying to self-perform the cleaning of 70 site trailers with probably 10 to 15% minorities instead of allowing black contractors to have the measly contract. Damn, they'd rather throw crumbs in garbage first." Okay. So that's what Ms. Phillips wrote, and that wasn't the only deal. My response to what Ms. Phillips wrote what was, "That is sad, that is bad, excuse me. I was told by a very, very good source that only 872 laborers would get a project labor agreement and no other local union." And I said, "Wild." And I wrote at the bottom of that tweet, "Does LVUL," and that's the Las Vegas Urban League, "and Ken Evans know that?" Okay. And her response was, that's past wild. That's F you. You know, I fucked up, right? And our stupid, this is what she's writing, okay? This is what she writes, all right? She writes this. She writes this. Our stupid ass black leaders allowed this and in cahoots with them, yet Jason from McCarthy and Little John keep lying about PLA, Project Labor Agreement, not ready. Major lawsuit. This is what Rosemary Phillips writes. My response was this. Make sure you check the lawyer. Another really great source told me that the lawsuit would have no standing, just giving you the 411. Rosemary Phillips says, we shall see. Where taxpayer money is involved, there's always a standing. I am a taxpayer. My response was, and this is where the Nevada Taxpayers Association came in. The Nevada taxpayers have been weirdly silent on the problem with the stadium hotel tax rate. Okay? So, at that point, after all that, it gets better. So, I think I told you about the whole McCarthy good faith effort, tweet, okay? And then there was this one where, I talked about the return phone call deal, right? And, and then it got even better, all right? Then she wrote, Then she says, yes, okay, when I wrote that's bad, I was told by a very good source that only 872 laborers will get a project labor agreement nor the local union. Wild. Does, the Las Vegas Labor Urban League and Ken Evans know about this, right? Her response to that was, yes, they chicken. In other words, they're scared, but no, including fake Aaron Ford, the state Senate leader, and Shondell and Raiders and Sisolak. And then she writes in big caps, Tommy needs to be arrested, New York case 89.86CR00511, right? She means she's referring to my new friend, I'm not going to disassociate myself, Tommy White, the head of Las Vegas Union Local 872. That's who she's referring to, okay? So then I wrote in response to that, okay, geez, this is messy, okay? And then it gets better, okay? So she then writes to me, and she writes to me this. She says, yes, Jason Howard from McCarthy said that regarding the project labor agreement being, not ready, whereas my source told me it was ready and that only 872 laborers would get it, right? Her tweet was, yes, Jason Howard from McCarthy said that, promise to Jesus. Then she tags Raiders, Steve Sisolak, Clark County, Nevada. And I wrote back by a tweet, more work to do, okay? So, and then it gets better. Then another gentleman by the name of Michael Gus jumped in. And that's when he wrote the now famous tweet regarding the truth is the numbers on the Steve Sisolak pipe dream known as the Raiders, and he tags the Raiders, then tags the NFL stadium, never added up. Jim Giuliani was right to vote against it, okay? And my response to Mr. Gus was, and by extension Steve Sisolak, since he was already tagged, right, was this: when will the Nevada taxpayers step up to the plate? And this is where I get the famous tweet from the Nevada taxpayers, which has really opened up the floodgates for a lot of crap. And look at this. It wrote, this is in black and white. NTA has chosen a neutral position on this issue because it is not a state issue. This is a local issue of room tax rates. Oh, they shouldn't. Whoever wrote that should not have tweeted that, okay? And here is why. I'm going to read to you all the tweets from Mr. Gus and myself that followed after that. Starting with Mr. Gus, who writes, last I checked, it wasn't the Clark County Commission, but Nevada legislature that passed the tax increases. Also, last I checked, the tax increase affects the entire state, not just Clark County. Actually, I had responded on my own differently. That was his, and so I responded to him saying, it seems like a sloppy cover reason intended to shield the real intent, protecting someone. And so he says the real reason is they don't want to offend wannabe Lieutenant Governor Democrats or lesser humans. Okay, and he tags Robertson for Nevada, and that person, if I'm not mistaken, is the legendary Republican state senator of Nevada, Michael Robertson, he's the state senate leader in Nevada. Okay, and I had said that Aaron Ford was a senate assembly leader. He's not. I think there was some sort of change at one point. He was, but at any rate, he is the candidate for lieutenant governor. All right, so that's interesting. You know, Michael Robinson was the Senate leader in Nevada last term, not this term. I thought Aaron Ford was for this term. At any rate, that's a side issue right now. Continuing, and Mr. Gus tweets, excuse me, and Senator, I know you said it was a joke, so I can play along with Robertson for Nevada by nicknaming you Michael, quote, Democrats are lesser humans, Robertson. And he does this with a smile. And my tweet, before Michael Gus's tweet, but to the Nevada Taxpayers Association and the Mr. Gus, was this. But, and this is to the Nevada Taxpayers Association after they issued that tweet that I showed you, okay? But it's based on state legislation. To adopt the position you share, thank you, is to ignore the role of Dillon's rule in Nevada government. The stadium tax was imposed by the state of Nevada, not Clark County. Thus, it is not a local issue as you framed it. Sorry. Now, you were asked, what's Dillon's rule? Dillon's rule simply says that as a state, all of the tax rates for the counties are administered by the legislature. So it really gives a great deal of power to the governor and to your local representatives who are then representing you at the state level, okay? But it also brings into complete focus the stadium tax, hotel tax that was imposed at the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee, which then wrote the recommendation, which became the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Act, which then called for, among other things, the 88 100th of 1% tax rate, okay? That all came from the state, but it's imposed on Clark County, all right? So it continued from me, and I wrote this as a follow-up. It's also, and this is to the Nevada Taxpayers Association primarily, it's also a subject of a stadium tax rate that was created by the governor's Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Committee, SNTIC, sent to the Nevada legislature, who passed it. All without a real good stress test. The SNTIA, the act, calls for a general obligation bond. In other words, that general obligation bond would draw off the general fund of Clark County, which means that it could go beyond the revenue stream from the stadium tax if that revenue stream were not great enough to pay off the monthly debt service and total costs with the debt service and the debt coverage ratio of 1.5 to that one debt service cost attached to it, okay? Now, then I continued. Moreover, Clark County represents about 71%. Get this. Clark County represents 71% of Nevada's total population. Just over 71%. So how can the Nevada Taxpayers Association, I argued in my tweet, call the Raiders, bond, and stadium tax issue local? Answer. You can't. When you have one county that represents over 2/3, yeah, represents over that's almost 2/3 of the size of the state. It's no longer a local issue. The whole entire state is impacted by what Clark County gets imposed on it by the legislature, okay? So then someone from out of the blue, by the Twitter handle name of Laura Martin Luther King, right? Okay, Laura K M M is what it is. All right, I'll read your responses in a second. Sends another tweet with a photograph. We gotta see this, folks. This one. All right. See, there's her handle. Nevada Taxpayers Association supports the fuel tax indexing ballot question on county ballots. Elko Daily Free Press. City supports potential county fuel indexing. Hashtag roads, and there's the URL for that particular article, right? What that essentially means is this. Laura Martin Luther King is basically adding more evidence that the Nevada Taxpayers Association is essentially lying. I hate to say it like that, but that's what they're being made to look like. Because they have weighed in on tax issues that affected counties that were imposed on the state. This fuel tax indexing ballot question is on the state ballot, but it impacts the counties. Okay? So from that measure, the Nevada Taxpayers Association should be weighing in, not taking a neutral stance, on the Raider tax situation. All right? Thank you very much, Laura Martin Luther King. Now, my response by Twitter was, so it's clear the Nevada Taxpayers Association is not telling the truth here in the case of the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas, Nevada stadium tax. What's the organization hiding? Why? All right? You think that's, hey, and I'm telling you, it gets better from there. I'm going to take a moment and get to your comments before I go too far. But you think that's deep? Hold on to your butts. So, good evening, everybody. Hi, Rick Rice, Barry Lee, Corvette, Donald Richardson, everyone. 32 Assassin, haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to have you. 32 Assassin asks, I'm still curious as to what the NFL's play/end game is here. I know they are chasing the dollar, but are they honestly this unaware of the litany of issues with this project deal? Something smells. Well, and then he follows up, I still think they want Mark out. And then Corvette follows up with, owners want to burn the Raiders franchise for all the suing Al Davis did revenge. Well, that may very well be. But as I said via Twitter, and I've said before in this space, the National Football League has deferred all questions to the Raiders. And when I tried to, and those of you who watch my live stream may remember that I approached Eric Grubman with a question of an update, and he says, oh, wave me off, and directed me very kindly, not in a mean way, toward the Raiders. But I said it then at the fall NFL owners meeting. I say it now. It is quite clear to me that the NFL is anxious to stay at a distance in terms of public response, although they are monitoring the situation, if you will, behind the scenes, okay? They have to, because at some point, they don't want to be caught by surprise. Bourdain claims that the NFL is pleased with the progress. Doubtful. All lies, bottom line. Now, getting back to this and where it continues, okay? Because like I said, folks, it gets better. Because I've got a lot here, all right? So then Rosemary chimes back, regarding my tweet that the project labor agreement was only going to be for 872 labor. Now you would say, what's a project labor agreement? A project labor agreement is done between a developer, builder, and a union, or unions, plural, and it gives them power to collective bargaining, negotiate wages and benefits before a project gets started. Normally, as in the case of the U.S. Bank Stadium, where the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take on the New England Patriots in the 52nd Super Bowl, there were a number of unions that had this project labor agreement. But in the Raiders case, as I'm told, it's just one. 872 laborers, just one. So what she claimed is that Mr. Jason Howard from Mark McCarthy and Miss Littlejohn are saying the project labor agreement isn't ready. All right. Now I'm told the project labor agreement is ready. There's a rub. Rosemary Phillips says your source is truthful. I never believe Jason or Littlejohn. SB1 is not worth the paper it's written on. She's talking about the Southern Nevada Tourism and Investment Act. I didn't respond on Twitter, but my thought about that is that it's not that SB1 isn't worth the paper that it's written on, but you have people who, in order to, in the process of trying to achieve their own objectives, have a tendency to interpret it in ways that benefit themselves. Right? So now, it gets better, folks. It gets better, folks. And then she said that they're following orders, talking about Jason and Ms. Littlejohn. And so we've got now Michael Gus says, the last time I checked, it wasn't Clark County. This is where he had the comment regarding the Nevada legislators, okay? And so that, and then I went up again, and Ms. Phillips chimed right back in, and I had said, so is the community benefits problem solved with respect to the stadium, or should we expect another canceled meeting? She chimed in with this: not solved, one-sided. Local 872 with a $300 million deficit are the real benefactors. And she tags a DOL, where are you? And DLL refers to Mepune Maiwa. And I copy that now. I should have done that before. I'm copying it, and I'm pasting that name into the search field. And what I get is a person, their profiles, but I don't, this is okay. Something who is something in South Africa, Department of Education, and perhaps this refers to a historical reference I'm not familiar with, and it could very well be whatever it is. It was a little cryptic to me, okay? And so my response to that was, who is that? And she retagged USDOL. Oh, I get it. She was, you know what it was? She was tagging the United States Department of Labor, but she left out accidentally the US, and so it just became at DOL. But it's the U.S. Department of Labor that she's saying, where are you? This is what she tweeted, okay? This is what the tweet looked like. All right, now it makes sense. You see? All right, and I said, okay, this is what she wrote, DOL, who are you? And then I said, who is that? And then she says, U.S. DOL, where are you? Get 872 laborers info. And I said, okay, got it. All right. That's what she was talking about, the Department of Labor. And it gets better, folks. Sadly. Sadly. So, to which I went up and she also offered a lot more than that. I'm scrolling up to find it. And I'm clicking on, whoops, not that. Let me go back here. Bear with me for a second. And we are back to that point. Okay, right. All right. I said, all right. What I tweeted, she had also attached something where from the AFL-CIO, which read, American workers want to believe Trump on NAFTA, but fear Wall Street influence. All right. And then below that, she writes, like black women in unions, accept abuse, fear of losing jobs with union, hashtag laborers 872. To which I asked via Twitter, could this include trading favors for jobs? To which, as a question, just a question, to which Ms. Phillips responded, AFL-CIO blocked me, but the rumors out on the streets, not good. And I mean, and she says in large ones, I mean rumors. You have to see this, okay? Look at this. And I mean rumors, loud, hands up on tape recording after white union employees attack black union employee. AFL-CIO silent, Metro silent. All right? Bad stuff here, folks. Bad stuff here. And the silence part is disturbing. And then she writes on Twitter, as a follow-up, what I do know is that NLRB, which is National Labor Relations Board, found Local 872 in large letters guilty of discriminating against black women. Stephanie S. had her arrested, handcuffed, and barred from returning to union to pay union dues without police escorts. Now, folks, all this is in black and white, all right? I'm not making this up. This is all right here in black and white. This is what she's writing, okay? This is what she's writing. So she's writing this, of course, because just because it's on social media doesn't mean it's true, right? So I'm thinking, all right, I've got to find more out about this. So hold on, all right? And I write, who's Stephanie S? It's right here. Take a look at this. Sorry to make you dizzy, okay? And I write, who's Stephanie S? And her response is, Stephanie Shelby. It happened on October 4, 2011, around 1:30 p.m., I was on the phone with her listening. Black man, too scared to record the incident. Oh, jeez. Stephanie is totally disabled since then. She said handcuffed for 30 minutes, too tight to cause vertebrae damage. All right? And so then it gets, sadly, and then she says this. What I do know is that a lot of sexual harassment charges against women have been filed against the union, Local 872, Shelby, Bananegro, Dice, etc. And I responded back with, geez, okay? And then she says, what I do know and can state that blacks in the last 2 worked at this union, that black women have had their work skills deleted from their files, thereby causing them to be ineligible for work, because apparently the union deleted their English language. Wow. Phew. So what I did is I took the Stephanie name, right when she mentioned it, okay, right here. I took Stephanie Shelby, and I'm going to do it for you right now. I highlighted it, and then, excuse me. I highlighted it like that, all right? And then I copied it like I just did. And then I went up here to a new window, put on the search field here. Then I hit return like that, okay? And this is what I got. This is Stephanie Shelby. And then I scroll down and I thought, okay, let me check the news. Okay, because the Stephanie Shelby is a very common name. So I thought, okay, let me check news. And that's what I got for news. Then I checked on images. And I got that, and I thought, well, let me see if I check on Stephanie Shelby, Nevada, like that, okay? And then I got this. And so then I clicked on that. And this is what I got, okay? It's coming into full relief. And this date is July 5th, 2015. This Vegas discrimination lawsuit could be headed to arbitration. All right. And so I scroll down. And this is Yolanda Dice and Stephanie Shelby attended a hall meeting. So that's Ms. Shelby. Okay. And this is by James DeHaven, then of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And that was, folks, before the Review-Journal was bought by Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon Adelson bought the Review-Journal November 14th of 2016. This was June 5th, 2015, under a different staff of journalists at the same Review Journal. Keep that in mind. And so what this reads is black laborers were lured onto job sites with a promise of substantial new contracts, deprived of pay for work performed, and sometimes forced out of business by a Las Vegas union leader, according to a lengthy discrimination lawsuit that could soon go to arbitration. I need to correct myself, okay? The Las Vegas Review Journal was bought by Shell Nadelson November of 2015, not 2016. I stand corrected. So, then it says the suits filed in federal court in 2011 accuses laborers Local 872 of forcing black contractors to default on their union dues. It alleges the union kicked those laborers off job sites and replaced them with contractors of other races. And this is on top of allegations made in March by a former union staffer, March of 2015, I suppose, yeah, by a former union staffer who, in a sworn affidavit, accused Local 872 business manager Tommy White of calling black employees a racial slur and black stabbers. The former staffer also accused White of physically assaulting him after he was fired late last year. White deferred comment on those and other allegations to one of the union's California-based attorneys, who said the alleged assault absolutely did not happen. The local and its joint trust fund or White are named in no fewer than 12 other pending civil actions. I should note, in fairness to Tommy White, that with respect to the official construction log that records such legal actions, none of these are placed in them. I'm just letting you know that. So at any rate, this rather lengthy article goes on, and it's really a sad story for Stephanie, but also this is you need to pay attention to this. All right. It reads, the Las Vegas Review Journal spoke with 3 former laborers still fighting Local 872 in court. This is as of 2015. Each recounted multiple instances of workplace sexual harassment or intimidation, usually centered around their race and almost always under the nose of a union steward or business agent. One current union laborer said a foreman threatened him with a noose. All of these allegations appear in suits pending against the union. But all said they're more interested in returning to work than in getting a settlement check. Those who could not work said they wanted to get back to it, though not without major changes at the union hall, where they feel discrimination continues. And she says, this is Stephanie saying, Shelby saying, I just want my life back. We've been to everybody in the state of Nevada, and they've all turned their backs on us. Our black so-called leaders, everybody. They refuse to meet with you, the whole 9 yards. I can't get any answers, but we won't keep quiet. Plaintiffs who spoke with the Review Journal about the largest complaint still pending against Local 872 said their suit likely is headed to arbitration. Union attorney David Rosenfeld says he doubts those suing the union will be able to afford arbitration, which could cost up to $5,000. Rosenfeld predicted the plaintiffs eventually will drop the case. And so this is where Local 872 enlisted a familiar name to fight one of the several legal skirmishes surrounding the discrimination case filed by former union members. Ross Goodman, son of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman, will represent the local in an embezzlement suit against John Earl Stevens, a union business agent fired from his post in December. The union and other labor locals have donated at least $31,500 to Goodman's mayoral campaign since 2011, including $10,000 to pay for an April robocall slamming one of the mayor's primary election opponents. The mayor said she wasn't sure if those donations might pose a conflict of interest for her son, who did not respond to requests for comment on the embezzlement case. Local 872 has provided labor for some of Las Vegas' most high-profile private development projects, including the Smith Center for the Performing Arts and the city's $150 million City Hall, a project Local 872 even offered to prop up with a $47 million to $79 million pension loan fund. Between those jobs and the campaign cash, several former laborers suspect it's no coincidence the union was able to land a member of Las Vegas' most powerful political family, to argue the case against Stevens, who was accused in April of using Local 872 funds to buy California lottery tickets. Stevens, who's black, suggested the case has more to do with his ties to several black contractors listed in the 2011 suit pending against Local 872. He said that before he was fired, White warned him to stay the blank away from those plaintiffs. The local unions are independently run, apart from the international, Stevens said, so the only people that can change Local 872 are the members, and they're afraid because they don't want to be blackballed. They're afraid of losing favor with Tommy. And booming again, Stevens says he isn't alone in facing retaliation. Yolanda Dice, one of 5 Las Vegas-based black subcontractors who sued the union 5 years ago, said she lost her business because she spoke out about Local 872's prejudicial practices. She and others alleged the union would discourage general contractors from hiring black cleaners and road workers, sometimes by showing up at a job site and threatening to pull laborers off a major project, other times by telling construction managers that certain black-owned businesses weren't keeping up on their union dues. Neither Dice nor any of her co-complainants dispute they had fallen behind on benefits payments owed to Local 872, though they contend the union's undermining of their business relationships with general contractors made it impossible to make enough money to pay. Their suit also claims that Local 872 came up with additional and burdensome fees and provisions aimed at black contractors. That claim is backed up in a 4-page affidavit signed by Henderson-based certified public accountant and financial consultant Kevin Kirkendall. Quote, "We need some attention, but not so much for us," Dice said, who worked for 8 years with Labor Local. "The town is back booming again, and the unions put us in a situation where we can't provide for all of our families. It's not that we don't want to work, it's just that this is how we're being treated." Now, this is 872 Union Local. Tommy White says these are frivolous complaints. He says, nearly 500 pages of deposition transcripts compiled in connection with the 2011 suit touch on most of the complaints raised by Dice, and a few others are aimed squarely at Local 872 manager White, who has vehemently denied being a racist. And I have to say one thing, I don't get that from Tommy, but I do get that there's a certain white is better kind of idea when contracting, that he would undoubtedly explain it as, it's not that, it's just that this person has more experience here, here, and here, rather than, actively locally finding or training someone black, who could be in that position. So I do see that. I do see that loud and clear. All right. And I know that if Tommy believes that someone who is African-American can be of any assistance to him, he will be respectful for that person. I say that because he's respectful of me. He wants to make sure that I'm getting the right message out about him and about 872, and that I feel welcome in Las Vegas. He even asked me about my mother. So as I've said before, Tommy White is a politician, all right? But there is no question that Las Vegas has an enormous problem with race and class. It has come out over the years with contractors trying to get work on these job sites, black contractors. It wasn't resolved in 2015 or 16, and now what's happened is that it has spilled over into the Raiders situation, where none other than Tommy White sits front and center running what has become the main local union involved in the project. So all of this crap has come with it. Come with 872 and Mr. White being on the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board, and his political workings to make sure that his members, of which are 2,400 strong, get work. All right? So now that's Now, White says he acknowledged that Nevada laborers don't have to be union members to work to form for a union contracted employer, and he said he didn't know some of the plaintiffs' employees had been banned from working if they hadn't paid their union dues. Though he said the union reserves the right to not properly dispatch non-union workers to a union job site. And that's why Union 872 being the only one having a project labor agreement is a big deal in this instance, because others who don't have it would not get the proper treatment regarding work with respect to the stadium. Okay, and so in 2012, three former union dispatchers were either convicted or pled guilty to charges stemming from a federal investigation into a $300,000 embezzlement scheme. One was sentenced to a year in prison. Two others were sentenced to house arrest and probation. All three had to pay restitution. Speaking at a union meeting months before those cases wrapped up, Tommy White looked to turn the ordeal into a teachable moment regarding what he called frivolous complaints. I said, I have to let you know, if you file a complaint with the Department of Labor or the FBI, they're going to investigate. White told an attorney during one of his depositions. They're going to come in and they're not going to find anything, and it's only costing the union money. All right? And that's where that article ends, and I felt very important to read it to you in its entirety out of fairness to both parties, out of fairness to the people who are still suffering from not getting work, the black contractors, and from Mr. White, because as is always the case with matters like this, the truth is somewhere in the middle. So I'll take your comments right now. He said, so we've got a number of new people, and he said, let's see here. Raider Fan Radio asked a question. I didn't, sorry. And I'm going back, got that one. Corvette, Richie Lucero, all lies, bottom lines. And, okay, didn't see that. And Raider Fan Radio, I don't see where you asked the question. So I didn't skip anything. And there was at all. I've been reading. So you didn't ask a question, Raider Fan Radio, for me to see, to read it, if it was indeed worth reading. I don't know if the moderator got to it. Maybe it was something that was inappropriate. I don't know. Moving along. Just if you want to ask it again. Black Lion Supreme says, "Run Love Raider Nation." Oaktown Playground says, "Are you trying to tell me there's still a chance they stay in Oakland? I'm not trying to tell you anything other than what you hear." All right. Richie Lucero says, "Truth be told is getting good. They are realizing it's a wrong deal. Stay in Oakland." 32 Assassin says, CNBC posted an article today that casino revenues are down 3% over last year, less visitors. Yep. Bad Boys says, "I got some news on the Vegas Stadium, okay?" Corvette says, "Mark Davis all in on Vegas until it crumbles." They're still going to Vegas. They're in Oakland right now. And they are going to be in Oakland in 2018, 2019, 2020. So all I know is that the Raiders are in Oakland right now. Dean Willie says, "As long as the Raider name and color stays, I think that's good." Black Lion Supreme says, "Wow." I guess responding to something I was saying at the time. Silver Maze says, "I doubt taxpayers over there want to pay for a stadium over more important things." I got some more information on that. Black Lion says, "Davis trying to move Raiders into a burning house." Yeah, that's a good analogy. Neil Naz says, "Is it true the NFL playoff was..." I have no idea. And I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not even going to entertain that at all. Johnny McClure says, "Should we be drone bombing Pakistan?" I have no idea what that's about. Richard Lucero says, "Yeah, well, their public school education is poor condition. I know Councilwoman was talking about that. They'd rather build $1 billion stadium over education." It gives me the mean face there. Silver Maze says, "It's 2018, yet Nevada is like something out of 1950s. Yeah, that's the point. Because if the Raiders elected to build their stadium in Oakland, and I remind everybody that the Raiders have not made earnest efforts to build a stadium in Oakland, contrary to the NFL party line, they have not done it. And the simple evidence that they haven't done it is this. The Raiders have financed stadium drawings and videos for what a stadium would look like in Carson and in Las Vegas, but never in Oakland. Okay? In fact, the only people who've come up with drawings regarding the stadium are Frank, the gentleman whose name is on the tip of my tongue, who I can't suddenly think of all of a sudden, and then Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill on behalf of the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, and the JPA, and then myself. 3. Floyd Gephardt. All right? Floyd Gephardt. So, at any rate, that's it. Okay? So, you know, that's it. But the Raiders, nothing. And they've had a lot of years to do something. When it was thought that the Raiders were going to go and share Levi Stadium with the San Francisco 49ers in 2007, then CEO of the Raiders, Amy Trask, said to the San Francisco Chronicle, "We are happy," and I'm paraphrasing, "with the Oakland Coliseum." And I was later told by Jed York, and this was in 2015, that Mark Davis simply did not like the color of the seats in the stadium. So there, all right? So there you are. Now, as far as it gets better, this is the other information that I have. And it goes like this, because that's the Shelby stuff, right? This is private information that I received in a message I cannot show. I cannot show you. Sent me this, but it is worth repeating what I received, and it goes like this. Oh, it's slow to open. Let me see something here. Well, I can tell you that basically what I was told was that Steve Sisolak has, in this person's view, all but lost the governor's race because of the stadium issue, and that oh yeah, here it is. Because I asked, will it touch Sisolak, this whole investigation stuff that's supposedly is an FBI investigation that's going to go on or going on. And my source writes, no, I don't think it would touch Sisolak, but I think the stadium thing has already cost him the governorship. I doubt he gets out of the primary, and even if he does, he can't beat Laxalt getting blown out up north. Approval ratings for the stadium in Reno are less than 20%. Wow. That allegation is from 2012. I doubt anybody reported out. Laborers have a bunch of friends. And that's the other thing is, you know, look, Tommy White is very good at developing relationships with people. And I've said he's a power broker. So I think, look, those relationships he built, you can see how his income has doubled since he became the head, I believe back in 2008. He started I believe $115,000, and now he's at $370,000 in terms of his annual salary. That ain't too shabby. So that's where this lay, folks. And so I'm giving you a picture of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's the deepest so far. Now, what does this all spell for those of you who are looking for, you know, that one answer to what does this mean, Zinni? Stay or go and all that jazz. Well, look, the Raiders are still trying to build a stadium, period. But let's take stock of where we are. The Raiders are not building it. They don't have the approvals. Of the 14 documents that need to be finished, only one, the lease, is done, and the other, that's for all practical purposes done, the UNLV Joint Use Agreement, still needs to be approved by the Stadium Authority. That leaves 12 other documents to be done. In total, entire set of stadium documents was supposed to have been approved by October of last year, with the bond issues sold in January of this year. for true stadium construction to begin to see a completion date of June of 2020. Now, you can kiss, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you can kiss that goodbye. I don't care if they're not saying it. All you have to do in this internet age is a little homework to figure that out for yourself. No one has built a stadium NFL caliber of that size in 20 months, and it ain't happening this time. 2021, far more likely, you know, maybe, perhaps. 2022, definitely, you know, barring other mishaps. The other problem, however, is this. As you extend out that date, the stadium construction cost goes up. And that's the problem. And then not only that, we have the collective bargaining agreement, which has to be renegotiated after 2020. And if the players go on strike, ooh, that presents a gigantic set of new problems. Okay? It really does. So we've got some comments here I'm missing. Barry Lee says, hello, John Marks. Barry Lee, how you doing? Barry Lee says, I'm good. Just praying for a big job interview, that general manager at theater position. Pays $52K a year. Hey, good luck to you, Barry Lee. And just, hey, you know what? Wherever you are general manager at that theater, I want a free bag of large popcorn. And I wish you success, echoing what John Marks had just wrote out. Richard Lucero writes, is that the Sisolak saying that they are building already on the stadium? He must be whatever. It is Sisolak saying that. They're not building, okay, at all. What they're doing is simply pre-construction infrastructure prep, and that's putting it kindly. There are three activities going on. On the north end of the property are there's a channel dig that channel already exists. It has to be moved 150 feet. Okay, that's the first thing. So that pattern like that, that's what you see, is what you see. That's the existing channel, but it has to be moved. Then there's explosion of caliche in the middle of the property, and that's ongoing for another, I think, like I said, 5 weeks. Here's something to think about with that explosion process. And I started to consider this when Tommy White made the comment that you could actually feel the vibrations from the explosion all around the land. And I thought, gee, what's that doing to other pipes nearby that may cause an unintended rupture that could cause another problem at some point, right? Because how powerful does the explosive have to be in order to chop all that up? And when do you know that enough is enough? And is there anything else under that ground that you don't know about that you could trigger, that you could damage in some kind of way that hampers what you're trying to do, right? That's what was going through my head. And so that's going on. And then, of course, they're bringing the portables to build, this goes to the south end of the property, the roughly 100,000 square feet of planned offices that are associated and needed for the project. That's what's happening. That's it. The Raiders, because they haven't signed a non-relocation agreement, and that non-relocation agreement has two political problems. One of them, a call for a special, well, a call for, or a provision such that if a special tax is imposed on the Raiders, that renders the non-relocation agreement void. The problem with that is when you have that clause and you have Bank of America looking at that, and the bond underwriters, they're saying, hey, you know what? This is loosey-goosey because it means you're going to walk. You're not going to stick around. Which means, hey, look, we're going to give you this money, and you're the lifeblood of our leasehold, and we may not get that money back. But then what that means is this. Hey, it means that because it's a general obligation bond, oh, it's okay, the taxpayers will pay for it. Only the taxpayers don't know that. So this would be the ultimate screw job the ultimate screw job if the non-relocation agreement were approved as is. And then on top of all that, there's a provision, a number of places in the non-relocation agreement, not a provision, which specifically named Mark Davis as the controlling person for the Raiders. It has his name spelled out. So what if he turns it over to his mom or somebody else in such a neat way? That would also render the agreement void. The point is the Raiders could walk anytime they wanted to if the non-relocation agreement was signed as is, and some type of tax was imposed, or Mark decided on a whim to change the direction of control of the Raiders from himself to someone else. Then, okay, so we don't have that, and then remember, the land hasn't been turned over to the Stadium Authority, which also ignites the process toward the sale of the bonds. That hasn't happened either. And then we don't know what the guaranteed maximum price for the stadium is going to be. And as of January 15th of this year, the Raiders and Mortensen McCarthy were looking at different subcontractor bids which determine what this total price of the stadium is going to be. We don't know what that's going to be. All right? And then we still don't know what the total cost of the stadium infrastructure is based on the high impact study that Clark County is supposed to release, which among other things is going to tell us what the necessary drainage improvement costs are going to be. Okay? We're not going to get all that done in 1 month. All right? If you started to build a stadium now, it would be 27 months. If you wait another month, that's 26 months. So look, it's not happening. 2020, folks, I don't care what anybody tells you, it's not happening. Okay? It just isn't. So you're looking at the Raiders in Oakland for this year, next year, and the next, at least. At least. And that's the situation. So anyone saying, oh, the Raiders are gone, you know, you have carte blanche to go, because they're not. Did you see the Raiderettes at the Oakland A's Fan Fest? I made a video featuring them. All right. So, just telling the truth about this project is something that it seems hard for a lot of people to want to do. That's really sad. Pedro Gallardo says, I think Mark Davis does not like the Niners having a Hall of Fame, what? Hall of Fame stadium or something like that. I missed this one. Pedro Gallardo says, what was that comment? That was a while back. I think Mark Davis does not like the Niners having a Hall of Fame in their stadium. I can see the Raiders fans vandalizing Niners memorabilia while there. Oh, I hope not. I really hope not. Silver May says, is Davis too stubborn to admit this looks like a huge mess? Well, actually, it's Mark Bedane that's guiding this. And a lot of the NFL owners, I don't think, have real clue as to what's going on. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. And so, Dell Jr. says, what's good? How you doing? Raider Fan Radio. Raider Fan Radio, I don't see anything that you're writing. Sorry. In any rate, Raider Fan Radio, I also have a Word system here, and it blocks out certain things, so sorry about that. At any rate, moving along, but I will continue, I will tell you, all right, I will tell you, Raider Fan Radio, if you continue to persist in trying to post things that are not postable, you will be banned, all right? So you need to grow up. I'm saying this to you, you need to just simply grow up and play ball. Simple as that. Now, Superman says, yeah, I'm sure taxpayers love it. John Mark says citizens in Clark County would be mad if that ever happened. They would be humongously angry. Pedro Galaro says the Raiders got Sacramento to start building a stadium. Most of the foundation got started, then Raiders bailed. And any chance of this happening in Las Vegas? You know, that climate is there. I would be lying to you if I said otherwise. That client is there. And yeah, that was a good long time ago, but his question is a good one. All right. So his question is a good one. Richard says maybe I should ask Mr. Cartwright for some money. You know, he owns the bananas. I like that one. Bonanza. Remember Gunsmoke? Hey, John Marks, remember Gunsmoke? John Marks, you and I still have to talk, by the way. So, that's the latest, folks. I opened the Ponderosa. The Ponderosa. Ponderosa, yeah. So anyway, that's the latest. Raider Fan Radio, if you have a question, you can just send me an email. Because I know that on Twitter, you had some idea about wanting me to debate somebody, and I said, yeah, as long as there was no insult. But I'm saying to you now, verbally, what I tweeted, if I have any idea that this is some sort of ridiculous, stupid trick or game, I will not do it beforehand. I have a way of figuring it out before it starts, and I will renege on that. I'm just letting you know. Because if I'm letting you know exactly where I'm coming from with that. I'm being very blunt when I say that some of the people who've been involved with this have been very immature in their presentation. If you can just deal with facts, like know the law and everything else, I'm happy. You come with spreadsheet calculations and everything, great. But the minute I get a sense that it's not that, I will simply not do it. That's it. And here's the reason. You're asking me to go into a situation with someone that, I don't know who it's going to be, more than likely somebody that has been very inappropriate in their presentation toward me. I don't have time for that. I don't need to do it. So, and where we are here. Silver May says, if Raiders become really bad and move to Vegas, will anybody there care about them? Don't know about that. Someone says there's a bad time to buy in Vegas. I'm just concerned about the... Donald Richard says, I don't see the Raiders spending advertising dollars in Las Vegas like the Chargers and Rams. That's another reason I don't see the move. The problem right now is just simply all the costs that are being heaped on this. And the controversy, this controversy regarding builders is very important and very deep. Look, at the end of the day, you need people to build the thing. And there was already talk before this rancor bubble to the surface of there being a labor shortage in Las Vegas with respect to the need to finish the stadium. So that the major problem here is this thing was rushed through. Okay, this was rushed, and it didn't need to be. There's no need to build a stadium by 2020. Nothing's going to happen after 2020 other than collective bargaining, but nothing on the stage in the way of the earth sinking in or anything apocalyptic, right? And if it were, why build the stadium in the first place? So, all right. So that's what's happening. It is now 2:33 in the morning, and I am going to shove off. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about Super Bowl. In fact, right now, as I speak, I know my friend Mike Silver is having a Super Bowl party. Let's have a little fun. Let's see, maybe from a Twitter perspective, we can, dive in on a Super Bowl party and see what's going on. And let me just type Super Bowl party, see if somebody has tweeted something out. Super Bowl party, P-A-R-T-Y. Because I know Mike Silver's party is going on it's called The Lounge. I was invited at the W Hotel in Minneapolis, where it's like, 5 degrees or something like that. And, but, I'm needed here with my mom. This is where I need to be. So, will there be a live stream of Super Bowl Sunday? That's a good idea. I can't show the game, but talk about it? Yes. Yes, I will do that, John Marks. I will do it, and I will do that. In fact, you know, we should plan for that. Yeah, I'll mark that. I'll do that. I will do that. Okay. Barbara Concorn's got the best cakes in the world for a Super Bowl party. She's from Shark Tank, right? And Super Bowl underdogs. Let's see here. Super Bowl Media Day Challenge. And so tomorrow, we will talk Super Bowl preview. I will go to the Super Bowl Media Guide, which I have a copy officially. And yeah, we will go from there. Now, Gamby Rat Super Bowl party. Everybody's talking about the parties, but it's not the parties happening, you know, in Minnesota, right? So let me see something. Peter's parties, people photos. I'm looking for photos. And see if I can get any interesting photos that might pop up. Let's see here. There's one. Where to eat, stay in Minneapolis for the Super Bowl. Eat, party, and stay. And look at this now. Look at this place. This is pretty cool. Look at this. Okay. Woo-wee. Look at that. Wee. That is sweet, okay? That's pretty sweet. Let's see what else is going on. We've got Justin Timberlake. Oh. Stormy Daniels is throwing a Super Bowl party. Justin Timberlake is having a Super Bowl party at Paisley Park. Apparently some Prince fans are outraged from what I'm reading. And there's, let's see here, penalty-free Super Bowl party, food safety how-to, Panthers jersey night. Yeah, I don't see anything. Let me try something. Let me check under the official hashtag, right? Which should be hashtag SB, yeah, hashtag SB 52. There's Brett Favre. Let's see what the latest is. And hey, take a look at some fun stuff here, right? Okay. Well, one day it's clear skies, the next day you're in the Arctic. See, that's what I did that let me tell you something, folks. I did that in Detroit. It's not fun. Okay? Look at that. Minnesota. It could be fun. That depends. You know, it depends on to what degree you're willing to brave the cold outside, right? Fly, Eagles, fly. Okay? Seabass School of Football. It's funny. So both of these are just regular tweets. I'm going to retweet this one in Espanol for fun. Okay. And what else? That's it. A lot of predictions, but nothing about anybody having fun, going to parties, anything like that. I know Mike Silver's party is going on, so let me see if my friends tweeted out anything. Mike, there he is. Mike Silver following. Let's see here. And branded. Yeah, there it is. See, that's the party I was invited to. We are officially kicking off the parties at the W Minneapolis, where I was beginning at 8 p.m. inside living room. And so, Darlington, you're ready to crown your city. And I'm going to tweet that out like that. And yeah, so sadly, I'm not there. But hey, look, here comes Atlanta. Atlanta, that's right. Super Bowl 53, right here, baby. Woo! Can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun, man. Yeah, now it's, let's see, it's 2:38 here, which means it's 1:38 there. So that party is about, a few minutes into closing. Annoying Silver, he'll probably rage until about 4 in the morning. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, okay. I will say hi to my mom for everybody. Mr. Dixon says, I just want the Raiders to build a stadium in Oakland, nothing else. Is that too much to ask? Nope, it's not. Michael Lundquist says, fight, Eagles fight, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. We got the victory. Tomorrow, we will talk Super Bowl. Come back. I'll be on earlier, I promise. But thank you all very much, everybody. I'm going to bed. Good night. It is now 2:39 a.m. Thank you for making this another rousing program. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all. I'll see you. Good night. And as John Marks would say, you can bet your last money it's all going to be, see you guys later. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. You got it. Good night. I'll see you.